And the first salvo fired is Argentina finally confirming their allegiance. They are fully in the camp of the West. In our lead story today, Argentina announces they will not join the BRICS bloc. He has reversed the previous Argentine president's move and wasted Brazil's effort. In his letter to BRICS, Milei told them that the timing was not right, that his approach to foreign policy was very different. In other words, Argentina is now hand in hand with Washington. Remember Milei's election promise? He only wants to work with democracies and not communist countries like China. But here's the funny thing. Milei wants to intensify bilateral ties to increase trade and investment flows without joining the group. I think that's wishful thinking. You can't have it both ways. You can't suddenly break away from BRICS and then expect record trade and money to pour into Argentina. And because of Milei's new strategy, Argentina has already lost their currency swap agreement with China. That's $6.5 billion worth of yuan they can't access anymore. And because of this, their trade deficit is going to get worse and their currency will collapse even further. Remember that 44% devaluation last month? That will just be the start, guys. They have to sell more pesos to get the dollars needed. Argentina's balance of trade looks horrible for an emerging economy. It has been negative for almost 12 months straight, hitting a deficit of $1.8 billion in June. And that means Argentina is importing much more than what they export out to the world. By cutting away BRICS, they are making it harder to sell to nearly half of the world. And here's how desperate the situation really is for Argentina. From Bloomberg, Argentina's first reconstruction bond sale to importers flopped. The government sold just $68 million of the 750 million notes offered, which is a disaster. That's like a 90% failure rate. Argentina is selling those bonds to importers in peso. The government will then pay back those bonds in US dollars when they mature. So if you're an importer, you can quickly cash in your depreciating pesos to get back dollars in the future to pay back your debts. Now the bonds offer an annual interest rate of around 5% and the aim is to keep imports flowing into the country. It's basically deferring payment today and kicking them well into the future tomorrow. And this looks like a bright idea, right? You get to reduce liquidity in the system and you strengthen the peso as well. But the importers aren't interested, right? They want their cash today and they're afraid of Argentine bonds, and who can really blame them? Firstly, where's the government going to get the dollars from? Exports are down, so there's no way to tax new dollars into existence, which means these dollar-denominated bonds could very well default. Buyers could be left with virtually nothing. Secondly, suppliers, they want cash. They want to be paid today and they won't accept Argentine bonds as collateral, right? A 5% interest rate is nothing when short-term US treasuries are paying 4 to 5% risk-free. The US government can simply print up dollars to pay back bondholders, but Argentina simply can't. That's the big difference. And the bad news keeps stacking up for Argentina. Milei wants to privatize a big part of the economy, and that means massive layoffs are coming. 5,000 government workers have already been laid off. He's now running to a fight with the unions, and oh boy, a big strike is coming for Argentina later this month. The unions are protesting against Milei's reform to deregulate the economy. And on January the 24th, workers across the country will sit back and relax. They won't go to work anymore. So if you add in strikes to an inflation crisis, you get a country whose economic recovery seems almost impossible. The snowball effects, guys, are clear. When there's a strike, efficiency will collapse, exports will drop and investors will run away. More money will flow out of the country because imports still need to come in. And if things get bad enough, Argentina could default on their dollar debts again. So this is Twilight Zone economics. They need a constant stream of USD to survive, and since BRICS is cut away, their only savior left is the United States. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see any dollar swap line with the Federal Reserve just yet. And things will continue to get worse before they become better. And at this point, I don't know if they will even recover. Milei's playbook is very bizarre. It doesn't really make much sense. And here's a great example of what I mean. Milei is moving to free the oil markets by breaking away from price controls. He wants to stop all price subsidies in the country. He is going for full deregulation in the oil industry. Normally, this would be great for a proper economy. You increase revenues for your oil company and the government at the same time. But Argentina isn't a well-functioning economy. It's in the twilight zone, and removing price subsidies now will cause local inflation to fly up. And here's what we mean. Argentina has fixed the local oil price at around $56 a barrel. That was when oil was trading at $86 a barrel. So it's $30 off the international price, and that's a 33% discount for Argentinians. Now, just imagine what happens when you lift the price control. Inflation is going to fly even higher tomorrow. Prices of fuel will shoot up through the roof. And if Argentinians can't pay for that price, where do you think the fuel will head to? More will be exported out to the world because you can get a better price out there. So it is a double-edged sword. Yes, you can increase exports to the world, but your local inflation will soar. Fuel shortages could get even worse. Argentina is essentially trapped in an endless debt repayment cycle. Their interest and principal payments are going to double from 2024 to 2025. It will double from 2.6 billion to 5.6 billion in a year. They need dollars, but they can't afford to borrow anymore because no one wants to lend them, right? They might even have to sell off real assets to pay off their obligations one day. So we can see the tragic cycle Argentina is locked in.